Dana is live with us.
Hi,
Welcome,
Asha.
Dana. Hi, so grateful to have you here with us today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here and to share my story with Mindbloom.
Yeah, thank you for popping on. So, yeah, this is a really special thing we get to do on our Instagram is highlight different client stories. If y'all have never been here before, we're Mindbloom. We're an at-home remote ketamine therapy company specializing in mental health, anxiety, depression. We're excited to be here and speak a bit to how this treatment can impact lives. So feel free to pop any questions in the chat and we'll try to weave them into the conversation. Otherwise, we will have someone from Mindbloom monitoring and answering questions as they come. So Dana, would love to hear a bit from you about a bit of your history with mental health and what initially led you to Mindbloom.
My history with mental health started when I was a kid, probably about age of 11. And I've just had issues with it, with depression and anxiety my entire life. I have multiple diagnoses, like um, major depression and PMDD and anxiety disorder and a few others. And I started on antidepressants in my 20s after I was diagnosed with severe fears. Was just cocktail after cocktail, and it was a roller coaster. Just I felt like an experiment. And finding ketamine and specifically Mindbloom, I cannot take full credit for that because my girlfriend did all of this for me and did the research and found Mindbloom and felt that Mindbloom was going to be the perfect fit for me and ran a GoFundMe and signed me up because I was hesitant and I was dragging my feet and I wasn't helping myself, and she kind of gave me the little push in the right direction that I needed, and I'm so glad that ketamine and her were the answer that I needed. During some of my medicated periods, I tried TMS, the magnetic. I don't even know how to describe it, but I had 36 sessions and no results, and I was on 3 different medications during that, and nothing helped. I finally went off my medicine and started the ketamine sessions, and this is really what kicked life into drive again for me, and it allowed me to start making the journey back to myself and to my family.
That's beautiful. I love how you describe that, like ketamine as a tool to make your own journey back to yourself and to your family. That's really beautiful, and so grateful for your friend for supporting you and offering that option. And I'm curious, like, how did you feel about trying it? Because it sounds like ketamine therapy was pretty new for you at the
I
time.
researched ketamine last year, and I was I was scared of it. Knowing that it's used for anesthesia, and it's a psychedelic, just kind of puts you in the mind of this isn't something that I should be using. And I looked at it in IV form, and it felt like this was going to be so invasive, and I genuinely was scared, even though people were telling me that they had great experiences with it, and even reading about it, there was great experiences for people having mood boosting effects from it. And honestly, her signing me up for it really gave me the kick in the pants that I needed. And um, even during even during my consult, though, I kept hoping that there was going to be a reason I couldn't do it. And I'm so glad that she said, you're cleared and you're healthy and you can do ketamine. And I was nervous going into it, but once I started my session, it was just, for a lack of better terminology, life-changing. And that first session really opened the door to a whole new way of treating myself for depression and anxiety and getting my life back in a forward momentum.
Yeah, beautiful. And you spoke a little bit to these different routes of administration and hearing different like scary stories about it. And just wanted to speak a little bit about that to our audience. There's many different routes to receive ketamine therapy. There's intramuscular, intravenous. There's also sublingual, like tablets. And that's what we use here at Mindbloom. We offer these sublingual tablets that we send to your home, and then you kind of hold them in your mouth and then spit it out so the medicine's absorbed through the blood vessels in your mouth. So yeah, it sounds like, yeah. And so it sounds like you had this kind of fear, you know, of it being really anesthetic or like too out of control or
my feet, and I wasn't helping myself. And she kind of gave me the little push in the right direction that I needed. And I'm so glad that ketamine and her were the answer that I needed. During some of my medicated periods, I tried things that'll serve me, you know, today, tomorrow, and forever, as long as I keep implementing them every day in my life.
Yeah, really well put. And I love that you speak to all these different things that came throughout your journey. For those of you here listening, Mindbloom, it's not just ketamine therapy. We utilize ketamine as a tool, but we also offer one-on-one guide support or coach support, clinician support, unlimited integration circles, which Dana, you just referred to, which are these group peer sessions facilitated by a guide, as well as personalized content in your app or your account. So you get digital, you know, preparation and integration materials like videos and articles and soundtracks for each journey too. So you spoke a bit to the integration circles. What were the main benefits that you received there? You said that was a huge part of your journey.
Going to the integration circles really gave me an opportunity to be around other people and interact with other people that are going through the same or similar situations, and to hear where they are and where ketamine has brought them, and to hear some of the things that have worked for them, or that they're leaning on through their ketamine sessions to improve their day, to improve their life, and also being able to express myself and share my journey, and to get feedback as to where, if I'm having a sticking point, or in the beginning, I really had trouble doing the whole integration and journaling and applying all of these things that Mindbloom encourages. I was having trouble applying them to my life, and I wasn't even sure where to start. And I explained that to my guide, and I talked about it in my integration circles, and everybody came up with like, this is what I do, and this is what has helped me. And those things are priceless, because otherwise, in other types of ketamine treatment, or even when you're taking SSRIs, there's nobody there telling you what you should do when you get up in the morning and how you should go about your day. And Mindbloom provides that. And to me, that's something that sets Mindbloom apart, and that I was able to recreate or rebuild a daily routine and life for myself. So my guide, you know, suggested start with some me time in the morning, and I sit and have my coffee or my tea or whatever it is. And sometimes I just sit with myself and nature, or sometimes I sit with myself and scroll on Facebook, whatever I feel I need at that moment in time. There's definitely a major focus on self-care, and making that time, making that space and grace for yourself and your needs. And in our crazy lives, we don't tend to give that to ourselves at all. And we definitely need to start our days out with intention. And that has been a big difference in my life. And I think it's helped me just in the morning routines, getting my kids off to school and getting my day started working from home, where before I felt like I was all over the place, and maybe things got accomplished, and now I feel like I have a much more structured day, and um, I feel like doing the integration circles and having the guide and being consistent in journaling and doing all of those things that are recommended have facilitated that in my life, whereas that wasn't there before.
Wow, that's huge. So I'm hearing just a really a deep prioritization of yourself and taking care of yourself since going through this treatment and receiving that guidance along the way. That's that, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. I think we all need those reminders, and we all can, fall out of our self-care routines and forget, how critical it is to our well-being. So thank you for that reminder. And I saw a question in the chat I'd love to actually get your perspective on. So somebody asked, why would I go with Mindbloom versus an in-treatment ketamine therapy center or therapist? And I think you spoke to a lot of those things just now, like the unlimited access to integration circles, the guide and clinician support throughout your 6 to 8 week journey. But yeah, curious if anything comes up for you. Like, why did you choose Mindbloom versus an in-person therapist, ketamine therapist?
I think choosing Mindbloom gives you the opportunity, especially if you're just starting out, and like I was, and I had a hard time leaving the house, gave me the opportunity to receive treatment in the comfort of my own home, where I felt comfortable and protected and safe. And it's convenient. You don't have to make an appointment to go to a clinic X amount of times a week or X amount of times a month. And most clinic situations that I've looked into don't offer any type of integration or therapeutic type benefits like Mindbloom does. And to me, the integration circles is just an absolute bonus when you join. I also believe that Mindbloom, it offers a much more affordable platform than some of the clinic type situations do. So I think that's a benefit for people too, especially if you're debating on what to do based on your budget.
Yeah. Yeah, all really great points. And a lot of those reasons you just listed are why people choose us and why we created this remote at-home treatment model. So many places are in person, which is beautiful. And some people might prefer that. And to do that, like, how many more people can we reach that, are in that space of not being able to leave the house or not feeling comfortable having somebody watch them the whole time. That's not a loved one. So for context there too, we do ask that folks have somebody at home with them called a peer treatment monitor, or a peer support, and that's a loved one ideally that's checking in on them, that's supporting them, and then you meet virtually with a guide before and afterward. So yeah, we want to make sure you're well supported and really comfortable, because that's important for our mindset going into the session, as you likely know, Dana.
Yeah. I know I did see some things pop up where, people have kids and feel that they can't do this. I have kids. I have kids at my house during my session, and my husband, thankfully, is my peer advisor and is there to protect my bedroom and my space and keep everybody out during that period of time. And I think that I saw in some other groups, some of the other moms have come up with situations where their husband or their friend or whoever is their peer monitor, and they do things after their kids go to bed. And that's an option for some people, I'm sure. I prefer to do my sessions during the day, but whatever works the best for every individual is worth trying.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your experience. I know that's a common obstacle for a lot of people with kids and responsibilities. And Just to quickly answer a couple other questions on this, yes, that I see in the chat. Yes, Mindbloom does offer the one-on-one coach support after treatment. So there's a few sessions included in your program, and you can purchase additional add-on sessions if you want. And in terms of the peer treatment monitor, they do not have to be in the room with you the whole entire time. Their role, like Dana said, is to keep a protected, a quiet and safe environment, keeping people and pets out of the room, and then just visually checking in on the client every 15 minutes to see if they need anything, while also remaining within earshot so they can support as needed. So ideally, as you're doing your session, you don't even know that anyone's checking in on you, and you're just really able to relax into that own connected experience with yourself. And I know we're kind of coming up on time, but I do have a couple more questions for you, Dana. And at the beginning of this call, you mentioned about your history with SSRIs and kind of being on this cocktail of different medicines that, I believe you mentioned was kind of more like this Band-Aid effect, or, it worked for a little bit, but then the wound would kind of come back. And I'm wondering if you could speak a bit to that SSRI process versus the Mindbloom treatment, and kind of how they differ, or what you would share with someone that's been through the same thing.
For me, there was always a side effect or something to deal with the SSRIs. And sometimes they're not as noticeable, but when you start to feel better, you start noticing your side effects. Sometimes it was just dizziness, some were nausea. I didn't have any negative side effects at all from ketamine. The only thing I can say is after my ketamine treatments, I felt relaxed and would just vegetate on my couch for a few hours. I don't think that's a bad side effect. Doing the SSRIs, I felt like I was on a roller coaster, and my medication was always changing and never knew what to expect. And everybody has different reactions to the medication. So even sometimes my doctor couldn't say anything beyond like, let's try it and see what happens. And you really start to feel like a guinea pig. And there was a lot of disappointment when I would start to feel good, and then it would nosedive, even with dosage bumps and adding different medications to the mix. I just gave up on prescription meds like that. It wasn't helping. I think on and off of them for 20 years and not ever really getting the full effect that you feel that you've been promised. And ketamine delivers on that. It's not a magic pill. It's not a cure-all. You have to do the program. But there's definitely a mood boost even from that very first session. You feel something. And even during the sessions like we had discussed before, they're so relaxing and comforting, and you just get a chance to be one with your thoughts and your mind, and just kind of relax. And you get to think about things that you might not have really had time to. And after my session, I would jot some of those things that came up in my journal so I could address them, especially if they're stuff that just keeps repeating. You're almost operating as your own therapist in that space and time. And I feel like I've come to realizations and seen things in myself that I didn't even do in any of my therapy visits. So it's definitely given me a lot more. The program and ketamine have given me a lot more than just popping some pills every day and hoping that you're going to feel better, because that just was not for me.
Yeah, that all makes a lot of sense, and I really appreciate you sharing your insight around that. I love what you said around, you're acting as your own therapist. And I mean, we really do believe that here at Mindbloom, that our clients, that we all have this, inner healer, inner therapist, or whatever you want to call it within us. But our day-to-day lives aren't often structured in a place where we can access that part of ourselves. And we see ketamine and the other parts of the program, like the circles, the guide and the clinician support, the journaling prompts, all of that as, right, tools to access that inner healer and to actually listen and be like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do, or whatever it is. Yeah, and so on that note, just to follow up with that, like what are some of the things that your inner healer, told you or showed you in the process?
My really one of the biggest themes that kept coming up was the effects that really not the effects, but what I was missing in my kids' lives while I was busy being depressed and not functioning. And that was something that just kept coming up, that I wasn't able to be the mom that I needed to be during those times, and really I wasn't the wife that I needed to be either. And that was something that just kept repeatedly coming up, and I was thinking, this is really something I need to address. I need to stick with this program and continue the ascent to a better me, because my family deserves that. So do I. And they're relying on me to be the best version of me, to manage my household and to be the most loving and attentive mom that I can be. That was really something that struck me looking back, was how much time I lost with my kids because my mental illness was controlling everything I did. And that's just not fair to the people that are close to you. And that was a reoccurring theme. And now I'm making steps with this program to get back to myself, to rebuild myself, and I'm so much more available to my kids in so many different aspects, because you lose that connection, you lose that bond with them almost, because you're so disassociated from real life when you're down as low as I had gotten, and you miss so much. So that really gave me a wake up call that I was finally headed in the right direction after several years of being checked out, for the lack of better terminology. I mean, I was doing the very basics to survive, and since I've been doing ketamine, I get up, I get dressed, I have a schedule, I have structure. My kids have structure again. It's not perfect. My house is a disaster and probably always will be as long as kids live here, or maybe as long as I live here. But
Fair.
But I'm not blind to the mess that was left in the wake of my depression. And I'm, finally digging into my mental health, my mental well-being, and the things that got neglected in my kids, in my home, in my entire life. And I don't think I would be here without ketamine, without Mindbloom.
Wow. That all feels super powerful, Dana. Yeah. I can really feel your care and your love and your intention as you speak about, doing this, finding support for yourself, not only for yourself, but also for your family and your work and everyone around you. And yeah, truly beautiful to hear that come through, and how I can also feel your dedication to this path of, self-discovery, self-mastery, and self-care. And those to me are, really the foundation of healing from anything, right? Like finding our path back to that, back to ourselves. Right. And yeah, I thought you put that so beautifully, like back to ourselves. Like depression and anxiety, they feel like these things that are far away from our center, far away from ourselves. And it's all about coming back to that. Like, what do we truly want? Like, how do we truly want to show up in the world?
It's a slow process. I don't want anybody to think like you're going to do one ketamine session and everything's just going to fall into place. It's definitely a process, and you definitely have to commit yourself to it, even on the days that you don't want to. And I hate saying the word force, but there's a lot of stuff I forced myself to do because I knew I once enjoyed it, and ketamine at least got me to the door, and it was up to me to walk through it and go back to living and go back to visiting with friends and family and taking my kids to do fun things and doing things again for myself and remembering how to live. It's, it's like getting on a bicycle again after a long period of time, but you're not going to just speed down the road. You kind of have to feel it out and get yourself going again. And that's still kind of where I'm at. I'm still not at the height of where I would like to be, but definitely in the running here.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely seen and felt in your journey. Like you're taking these steps and you're setting these intentions, and use the responsibility you're taking for that. And I want to leave space for you if there's anything else that you want to share with our audience today before we end our time together.
I think if you're on the fence about doing ketamine and you're in a position where you need to show up better in your life, you're struggling with depression or anxiety, just jump in and do it. It's definitely life changing, and gives you the opportunity to return to the living again and to show up however you want to. This is an opportunity to rebuild who you are and how you show up to the world. It's so much bigger than just taking your ketamine tablet and doing your session and popping in a group here and there. It's really going to put your life on a different trajectory if you allow for it. And if you have people that rely on you, whether it's children or other family members, anybody, employees, it makes such a huge difference to be able to show up 100% every day or near 100% every day. And instead of the disassociated person that you become when you succumb to depression and anxiety and other mental illnesses. I I can't express enough that if you're on the fence and you're scared, you're hesitant, you're not sure, just try it. You can always say no more if it ends up not being what you were hoping. But if you're anything like me, um, read the reviews, read the comments in the Mindbloom community. Everybody that has been on it so far that I've known has had great success, and I hope this becomes available to everybody that needs it because it's so effective, so much more effective than anything I've taken in my past.
Wow. Thank you so much for those reflections and sharing that with everyone here. Yeah, definitely share those intentions. If you're at a space in your mental health where you don't know what to do, feel free to reach out. Like, even if you don't want to sign up, ask us questions. We're here our mission is to transform lives, to like truly transform the world so we can all better show up for ourselves and the people around us. So please reach out. If you joined halfway through this live and didn't catch the beginning, you can watch that in our feed afterwards. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here. So much gratitude for you, Dana, for sharing your story. And we'll see you all hopefully in the future. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.